Hi all! Today we're going to break down the plot of the 2003 sci-fi movie Sumeru. In the year 2800, two astronauts from Earth, Adam and Jake, fly in a spaceship to the remote planet Anthera, where humans live. A terrible virus has left all the women on Earth barren, so if the astronauts' mission fails, our planet's population will become permanently extinct. After some time, the shuttle reaches Antar. Because of the unusually strong gravity of the planet, the spacecraft crashes. The guys survive, but a piece of the ship's skin wounds Jake in the shoulder. Adam helps his comrade escape to the surface, where his wounds are treated. The Anthera turns out to be covered with endless rocks, and not a trace of vegetation can be seen around it. Suddenly the men hear a dog barking, after which Adam decides to find its source. Soon the astronaut notices some boy in rags and with a dog in his hands. The boy, whose name is Will, shouts, "Snakeheads are near," and runs away. However, the boy falls right into the hands of the snakeheads, who look like wild Amazons. And the dog manages to escape. Adam explores the planet. When a rather violent earthquake occurs, the astronaut contacts his comrade by radio and asks for a scan of the area. Adam continues on his way, soon reaching a large temple. The astronaut sneaks into the building, where he sees many women. It turns out that this planet is ruled by the fair sex, and they force the few remaining men to work in the mines. The priestesses recite prayers in honor of the great goddess. Tak-san, the powerful leader of this religious cult, who is worshipped by a huge cobra. However, the planet is ruled by a queen, Sumeru, who does not seem too fond of the activities of Tak-san and her cult. Soon several armed priestesses lead Will into the temple to become fodder for the sacred cobra. Dove, Will's sister, who serves in the royal guard, is not about to give up her victory and boldly attacks the Tak-san priestesses. A huge snake reacts to the sudden movement and instantly devours one of the cult servants. Tak-san orders her to kill Dove, but the queen stands up to defend the warrioress. A long-standing feud erupts with renewed vigor between Sumeru and Tak-san, but suddenly the women notice Adam in the shadows. The astronaut detonates a stun grenade and flees the building, as does nimble Will. Adam, along with Will, escapes to the spaceship. When an arrow from one of the priestesses wounds the astronaut in the leg. The two climb into the shuttle, but Adam feels worse and worse as the arrow has been poisoned from outside. Once again there is a confrontation between the High Priestess and Tak-san. The High Priestess wants to finish off the stranger, but Sumeru declares that she rules this planet and tells Tak-san to get lost. The Queen and several wanderers then infiltrate the alien's ship and rescue him by giving him an antidote. The astronauts are invited to the royal palace for an audience with the ruler. Jake tells his comrade that he has performed a scan of Antar and concluded that the planet will be completely destroyed in a couple of months due to the ever-increasing earthquakes. The Queen calls Adam into the throne room, where the alien tells him that he arrived on Earth just as all the inhabitants of Antar did centuries before. However, communication with Antar was suddenly severed centuries ago, and people on Earth stopped being interested in the distant planets because of World War III. And only now have the Earthlings gone there on a new expedition. Sumeru replies that mentions of Earth have only survived in their ancient legends. The Queen shares that Antar is constantly shaken by earthquakes, and the inhabitants of the planet believe that it is the gods who are angry at them. The cult of the serpent is very influential here. The High Priestess wanted to take the throne, but the citizens favored Sumeru. Now Tak-san dreams of revenge and one day getting even with her rival. Adam tries to explain that all life on Anthera will soon be destroyed by massive earthquakes. However, the Queen does not attach importance to the stranger's words. Sumeru tells her that many years ago there was a powerful outbreak of death on the planet that killed most of the men. The women blame them for the incident and have held the power ever since, constantly exterminating the opposite sex in order not to lose it. The Queen shows the stranger the mines where the local men are used as slaves, tries to protect the unfortunates, but is slapped in the face for her impudence and sent back to the ship. On the way, However, Adam and the female warriors who accompany him are attacked by the priestesses of Tak-san and kill all of the queen's guards, and they take the alien with them. Dove also dies from his wounds, and Little Will cries over his dying sister, unable to help her. Adam is led to Tak-san, who tries to seduce the man, hoping that he will take her side against the queen. The stranger has no time to respond, as Sumeru, along with her faithful warriors, bursts into Tak-san's chambers and knocks the priestess out with a powerful blow, and Jake tries to explain to the queen that this planet will soon be permanently destroyed by earthquakes. Sumeru begins to listen to the aliens and tells them about the valley, where there is a huge spaceship, which, according to ancient legends, the people of Earth came here centuries ago. The astronauts decide to get to this starship, as their own shuttle cannot be repaired without spare parts from Earth. Along the way, the guys fight off those chasing them and also free some miners from a nearby mine, counting on them to be able to help them. A few hours later, another massive earthquake kills several people, but the guys don't give up and continue on their way. The group discovers several skeletons of men. Jake uses his equipment to determine that they all died hundreds of years ago from a powerful thermonuclear explosion. The queen didn't expect it to be the same flash of light from their legends that they've been blaming the men for all this time in vain. The group keeps moving and finally reaches a huge and very old spaceship. The astronauts, along with the queen and a few female warriors, make their way inside, trying to see if the enormity can take off again. At first glance the starship seems undamaged, except that the astronauts don't have time to look around as the appearing priestess, led by Tak-san, attacks the guys again. The furious high priestess rushes at the queen, but Sumeru gives her rival a serious fight and finally throws her on the generator, which hits the villain with a powerful electric shock. By some miracle, Tak-san survives, but Adam shoots her with a well-aimed shot and finishes the Viper off. Jake manages to fire up the ship's engines, which soon rises into the air. The queen begs the aliens to save her subjects, and the astronauts reluctantly reship the ship, worried that it may not take off again from the planet's surface. Sumeru orders his subjects to board the ship, explaining that only certain death lives on Anthara. When the evacuation is complete, Jake attempts to take off again, only for a huge serpent to unexpectedly attack their vessel. Then the astronauts fire the engines at full throttle, after which powerful jets of flame turn the giant cobra into a pile of ash, and the men set a course for Earth, hoping that the genes of the inhabitants of Antar will help revive our planet's population. What do you think of Sumeru's film?